not on the light anymore.
Oh, it's not.
It was before.
Alright, I think we're already live on Twitch and YouTube. Hello everyone, I'm Tim from Tim's PC, and I build custom PCs to suit anyone's needs or budget. Also live stream my builds and repairs for transparency and educational purposes. So if you would like to get an awesome new PC, you'd like to see it get put together live, send me a message today. Alright, so tonight we're back with another live PC build. I've had a couple of days off. I wouldn't really call them days off. I've just been completely swamped with messages and catching up on quotes for people. If I still haven't got to you, send me another message because I may have missed you just with all the hecticness of end of financial year and everyone wanting new PCs with their tax returns, obviously. So we've got a couple of people here. Hey guys, how you going? So we've got Nick, Alex and JJ here. How you going guys? Good to have you with us. So yeah, tonight we're going to be building Darren and Eileen's PC. So Darren is Eileen's son and it's his birthday. So happy birthday to Darren. Yeah, exactly. So he's going to be primarily using this PC, but from what I understand his mum's going to be using it as well. So she's pretty excited about this as well. So let's get into it. So let's start with the main component of our gaming PC, which is our graphics card. So we've got an RTX 2060 here. This is the Asus dual model. So we'll have a look at this card when we unbox it, but even though it's not a 30 series, a 2060 is still a great gaming graphics card in 2021. Hey Shane, how you going? Good to have you with us. So in addition to that, we've got 16 gigabytes of Spectrix D41 3200 MHz CL16 memory, and it's got the nice RGB effect on the top there. We've got ourselves an MSI B450 Mortar Max motherboard. So this motherboard here's got some really good features for what it is, and we'll have a closer look at that when we unbox it. So powering it, we've got Ryzen 3600 6-core 12-thread CPU. We've got a Cooler Master 650 watt 80 plus rated power supply. So this particular power supply, this is the power supply from the other night where Tim made a mistake on the power supply type for that Leon Lee Dynamic 11 Mini, the little mini one, and it had a small form factor power supply. I missed that. I was looking at it, I'm like, that looks a bit small. I'm like, nah, it'd be right. Nah. So this is the power supply that I originally hooked up. Well, actually I didn't hook it up. I just took it out of the box and realized I couldn't fit it and put it back in the box. So if you see that this inside the box, it doesn't have any of the usual packaging. It's not because it's secondhand. It's literally never been plugged in. It's still got the original cable tie around it there. So it's a brand new unit. So it's still under warranty and all that kind of thing. So don't mind the fact that it has been opened there. I just had to get, it was one sitting around. So the next person who had one in their build, they got it. So we've got a Seagate Barracuda 1TB NVMe SSD. These are just the reason why I've gone this one. I mean, you see me use Crucial, you see me use Kingston, you see me use a whole heap of different brands of SSD, because in general for your average person, they're all going to perform about the same. If you look at the benchmarks, yeah, there'll be difference in numbers, but those numbers really don't make a great deal of difference to your average user in terms of actual load times. And so we've got a Wi-Fi card here as well, so Wi-Fi 5 and Bluetooth 5. So we'll put that down with our graphics card here because it'll be the last thing that we install. And then we've also got the Antec D600 Flux case. So you see me use this case quite a lot because it's one of the cases that I go to when a customer goes, oh, I'm not really sure what sort of case it is. I'm not really too fussed as long as it looks all right and has good performance, like it doesn't overheat and stuff like that, and it's good value for money. So that's why you'll always see me building in this, and I'll point out while I'm doing the build why I like this case in particular. So let's get on with it. So let's have a look at this motherboard. Alright, what do we get in the package? We get a nice black I/O shield. I like that as opposed to the plain silver. We got some SATA cables. We got M2 bolt, another M2 bolt. Just the usual instructions, the usual MSI go faster sticker. Nothing too special. But at least there's no offsets, which means that our offsets should already be pre-installed on our motherboard. So that'll make things a bit easier for us. Give us a bit of foam. I'm not really sure what I'm meant to do with that. It doesn't feel like anti-static foam, so I'm not sure why that was even in the box with electronics, to be honest.
It's in an anti-static bag. I don't need anti-static.
Yeah, it's in an anti-static bag. It's all good. It's all good. We don't care about the message that we're sending or anything. That's not important.
No.
Alrighty. So, yeah, you would probably look at this and go, that looks very familiar like the motherboard that we used to have.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is essentially the MSI version of an Intel board. They're essentially sister boards that were like round the same price, AMD chipset, Intel chipset, but we're going to include like the same features and all the same stuff on the board.
I was wondering why it looks like really familiar.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a decent little board here. So one of the main features is it's got the two M2 slots on a small micro RTX board, which is a good thing. Oh, we've got a bit of sticky over here. All right, so let's point out the features of this board here. So we've got 8-pin CPU power up here. We've got a direct touch heatsink here on our MOSFET VRM. Our co-processors are uncovered, but that's not going to be a problem unless we're doing some pretty crazy overclocking. We've got a CPU fan header up here. We've got dual channel memory here, so channel 1 is these two slots, and channel 2 is these two slots. We've got our second fan header over here. Over here we've got some debug LEDs. So these are 4 little lights. One says boot, one says VGA, one says DRAM, one says CPU. So if your computer won't turn on, one of these lights or a combination of these lights will light up and they'll actually tell you roughly where the problem is in your build. So that's always a handy feature. I like seeing that, even someone like me who fixes computers, I like seeing features like that because it usually saves me some time. Over here we've got our 24-pin ATX power. This is the main power for all the other systems on our motherboard. So we got 2 vertical SATA ports and 2 horizontal SATA ports over here. Then what we got down here, we have a 12-volt RGB header, what's that? That is our fan header. So not a fan header, a post speaker. I've got a whole bag of them here. So that's where you put your little speaker. This header down here, this is for our front panel connection, so the power button, the reset button and all that. This is our USB 3 header over here. Now we've got 2 USB 2s. We've got, looks like, trusted platform module over there. This looks like some sort of a COM port debug header or something. JC1. Always don't know what that JC1 is on MSI motherboard. I always forget what that letter combination is there. So that's our actual COM port header over there. We've got another 12 volt RGB header, and we do not have any 5 volt. That's a bit of a shame. That's okay. But we've got another fan header down here. So what this board lacks is mainly fan headers. So we've got 1, 2, 3 and 4. What have we got down here? That's our clear CMOS header down there, and obviously our front panel audio down the bottom there. So that sums up most of the stuff around the perimeter there. So all of our audio is always down here on computer motherboards. So keep all the audio together in the one area and try to keep it as isolated from other electrical signals on the board. And so around the back here, we've got good audio on this board. So we've got Sony Philips digital interface, so the optical audio out, so you can just hook this straight up to your soundbar or whatever. We've also got surround sound outputs there as well, and obviously line in and microphone. And so around here, what have we got here? Is this 2.5 gigabit Ethernet? No, just single gigabit Ethernet. So we've got what looks like 6 USB 3.2 ports, including 1 Type-C, gigabit Ethernet. We've got a HDMI and DisplayPort output, which won't be in use for this build. And we've got 2 USB 2s and a PS2 port up there as well. And that brings us to just this stuff in the middle that we haven't spoken about here. So there's another fan header there. I briefly touched on that. Got our 2 M2 slots here, so that's nice to see. So we've got our full-length PCIe X16 slot here, and this bottom one is actually an X8 slot. It's usually an X4 slot on a lot of boards, but there's actually a full X8 slot there as well. We've also got 2 PCIe X1 slots here as well, so decent PCI configuration for a smaller motherboard. And then this little thing here, it says MSI. This is where the chipset lives. So that is the B450. So the B450 lives under there, and what the B450 does is it's essentially the part that communicates with all these other systems on the board, and you can think of it as this chipset communicates with the CPU in a structured and efficient way. So the CPU doesn't have to be constantly receiving signals from everywhere on the board. The chipset manages that flow of information. So that's basically how you can think about what your chipset actually does. So, and there's always a heatsink on it because it's kind of like a CPU. It gets hot, etc, etc. Alrighty, so that's all of the main features on our motherboard. So we can go and get started prepping this up. So let's get started here with our CPU. Yeah. Ah, sweet. Hey Steve, how you going? I just realised I have a spare Wraith Spire cooler that we can use for this build. So this is the slightly bigger stock AMD cooler. So do I have an AMD cooler out of a box here? I can. Alright, so here is our standard stock AMD cooler, and here is the bigger AMD cooler. So I've got this one lying around, so let's use this one for this build. Oh, where's the... this one away. And we can go ahead and use the big one. So here we are, is our AM4 CPU, our Ryzen 3600X. Sorry, not 3600X, it's just the 3600. There we go. And so what we're going to have to do here is we're going to have to change our stock AMD mounting hardware. We just have to remove these brackets, so no big deal. Alrighty. And so I like to line up the words. So if we've got writing on the motherboard that's orientated this way, I want to make sure that that is orientated that way. The AMD in the middle is attached to the fan, so that doesn't matter. And so we just want to line this up. Just like that. And so the trick with these is if you just tighten each one just a little way, and then you can go around and tighten it right down. And so this is always a much better option for a 3600 to have this cooler on it than the standard AMD cooler. There we go. So 3600 actually puts out quite a bit of heat under load with a stock cooler. They go much better with this cooler on. Are they watching it? And so yeah, this is for Darren's birthday. So happy birthday to Darren. So I hope you enjoy this rig. I don't know how old he is, so I can't say that.
Happy birthday anyway.
Yeah. Birthday's always fun, especially when there's a new computer involved.
Oh yeah. I think I'd be peeling out of my skin if I was getting a PC for my birthday.
Go. And number 2. We just make sure nice even pressure on both sides down into the slot. Okay, so now we've got our M2 drive. So this is what 1000 gigabytes of storage looks like. All on this one little thin stick. You can get these up to 8 terabytes capacity. And we will, I think we'll mount this in the bottom slot because I don't believe on this board that they're running at a slower speed. Let me just check the circuit diagram here, see if I can see anything about it. So look at that slot. That's connected all the way along. Yep, that's an X4, so we can use that without any speed reduction. So sometimes when there's multiple M2 slots on a board, some of them will actually be running at a slower speed. They'll, just like you can have these PCIe slots that are the same length as the main one, but they're only connected halfway along or a quarter of the way along. Same with M2 slots. Yeah.
Darren's watching and he's super excited. He's 15.
He's 15. Ah, awesome.
Yay! That's always a good age.
Yep. Oh, I wish I was 15 again. That would be fun. I wish I knew what I knew now when I was 15.
Oh.
Fortunately, life's not that fair. I don't have too many regrets. I guess that's always good. Okay, so we've got our motherboard all prepped and ready to go. So we've got our bigger cooler on our CPU, which is a bit of a toasty boy. We've got our memory installed. We've got our SSD installed. So we can go and turn our attention now to the case. Oh, I just realised we don't have an RGB fan for the back. Why don't we chuck in an RGB fan? I reckon we do it. Let's do it.
Can't you do like the brace? Don't you have a spare brace?
No, I don't have a spare one. I've only got the one that I need for me.
Yeah.
Sorry, no. I've got 4, but I need those for me. Yeah.
It says, I wish I was 15 again, and not saying I wish I was 18 and an adult. What a joke that was.
Yeah. Alright, so we're going to install a Silverstone ARGB fan on the back here. So we can actually go ahead and just unscrew this plain black one.
You might want to take the front panel off too. That might help.
Yeah, I know. I'm just getting rid of the...
Oh, I'm so buying the spray gun to life for the cat so he doesn't rub himself on the tripod anymore.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so we're still going to use that fan. And I'll show you why. Alright, so let's get rid of this glass panel.
That puppy.
Yeah, this crappy air filter that's got like really big holes in it. That's not going to filter any dust.
Far out. You could fit like 4 needles through one hole.
Yeah, you could fit get the thickest spaghetti that you can get, like round spaghetti. You can fit it through those holes.
It's really bad, but
Yeah, it's and the magnets
you
like
to see Tim's face if that was proper. You can actually see Tim's face properly through that.
yeah. If it was an actual filter, if we've got an actual filter for comparison.
But is that one there on the floor?
No, that's another crap one.
Oh. Where's mine?
Here we go. So here's a comparison with a proper filter.
It almost looks the same. Oh, you can, if you hold them up together, this one's darker than this one.
Yeah. It didn't look as good on camera, but you can, yeah. These holes are about 1/3 the size of
Even
the holes.
magnetic stripping's really...
This magnetic stripping, it holds the piece nice and flat, whereas look at this. It doesn't even, it's bent. So it like won't even sit in the case.
Tim always texture.
So I never include them.
From this case, no.
I mean, I could put, if you really want, I could put this other one in. It doesn't fit. It doesn't fit exactly, but it kind of fits. So, like, if that's a thing, but yeah, it's not really a big deal in my opinion, because it's easy to clean a PC. All you need is a leaf blower or a reverse, like a blower vac or something like that. Just give it a hit with that.
You never want to use an actual vacuum, like normal vacuum cleaner on it.
No, they're just not very effective. And you got a more chance of like knocking something on the board with the end of it than you do with like a leaf blower or something. And if you're blowing air, you blow air like underneath the motherboard and through the power supply, whereas a vacuum's kind of like sucking air 360 degrees around the end of the nozzle, so it doesn't quite get underneath things quite the same. Alright, get the back panel off. Alrighty, so here's our case. And so there's always a little bit of cabling there to tidy up, because they don't do the best job with all these cables. It's not that hard to do this right, and I'll do it upright and show you what they should have done. But yeah, what have we got? We have our mounting hardware. Put that hard drive tray back in. We can mount our power supply now. So our power supply is going to be mounted face down. Actually, no, I'm going to mount it face up, because I'm going to run. Yeah, I'm going to run the fans on the bottom, pushing out, because then we're going to have 3 on the front, and then 1, 2, 3 blowing out. So we're going to have balanced airflow, which is a big part of not having a PC case that's overheating. It's like, what makes a PC case overheat? It's about airflow through the case. So ideally, you want volume in to equal volume out. I know it sounds pretty simple when I say it, but like something that not everyone really thinks about. So if you've got 3 120mm fans on the front, you want 3 120mm fans on the back, essentially, in an ideal world. If it's not completely balanced, it's okay. You can tune that. You can tune the 3 that are blowing in to be running at like 75%, and then the 2 that are blowing out to be running at 100%. And you find whatever that medium is, work it out, and you can run it like that. So there's no problems with not having it. But if you want to do it right, if you just want to do it all good from the word go, ideally you want to have nice balanced airflow. So you want to have a balanced number of fans. The air in equals air out as just a basic way of thinking about it. Okay, now we got all these cables out the back here that we need to sort of sort through now. So we're going to need this one. It's our RTX power for our motherboard. We're going to need, what have we got here? We're going to need this graphics card power cable, because we've got a 2060, so that needs some juice. We've got, what have we got? Oh no, that was a CPU, it's just got 2 headers on it. We've got our graphics card power cable here. Let me just untangle this a bit. And we've got another graphics card power here. We're not going to need that. We won't be needing this Molex cable. We won't be needing one of these SATA cables, but we will need some SATA power for our RGB and fan controller. But what we're going to do, we'll just run that cable. We'll just run that down the back here. And I knew there'd be something I've forgotten. Oh no, here we go. All my zip ties. So we'll just tie all these cables that we don't need off in a nice bunch. Where are my pliers? Cut them off. We'll stash them away down here next to our power supply. And then if we ever need extra power cables for something else, they're all there and they're not in the way. Now we're just left with the ones that we need. We do have these cables here. So one of them is this big cable here. And so this can be plugged into one of the cables that we stashed away. We can just plug that in, and then we can stash that cable back down with those ones that we tied away. And then there's one less there to deal with. And so now we're left with the cables that we need, essentially. So what we might do, let me get this untied. And we'll get our new RGB fan on the back there, so it looks right. Just looks weird with 3 RGB fans on the front and then like none on the back there.
More satisfying to look at now.
What's that?
I said it would be more satisfying to look at.
Yes.
Consider it a birthday present.
Yes. That was what I was going for. Okay. There it is. There we go. Alrighty, so now we've just got these other 2 fans here. So one of these fans is a reverse fan, but we're not going to be running it as a reverse fan. So it's going to look like one fan's upside down and the other one's the right way up, but really they're the same. And so what we'll do with these is we'll run the cables down here, and then we're going to need, bring this case a bit closer, we're going to need some long bolts to mount these down.
Can you just drop this?
Yeah, that's okay. So we'll put these long bolts down. Once you get one in place, pretty good. Hopefully I've chosen the right size. Yes, I have. And so you might be thinking, where's this air coming from with these two fans? So on the back panel, there is actually a grate at the bottom, and that sits behind. So it's actually going to be, these fans are going to be drawing in cool air through the back panel on the other side. Another reason why I really like this case design. I think it's really good, and for a budget case, yeah, pretty
I'd be
good.
quite happy with this case.
I wouldn't really call it a budget case.
No.
I'd call it a value case, because it's still $100, but in my opinion, you're getting like the features that you'd get on a $170 case for $100.
I kind of want to ask them how many of them they've sold.
Oh, they would have sold shitloads of them. And I mean, the only thing I can complain about is just that cable management to start off with at the back there. There we go. Now our case is all set up with 6 fans, 3 in and 3 out. So now we'll install our I/O shield at the back here. Yeah, that's pretty good. Alrighty. So now what we might do, might get this motherboard in place. So I'm going to lie this down just quickly. And actually I will need to adjust the position of some of these bolts, because we'll just have a standard RTX configuration here. Alrighty, so we have, yep, the longer distance here.
Cat hair stuck to the front of it because of the static.
Long and
Assuming they don't
short.
want the cat hair all through their PC.
No, no, absolutely not. Alrighty, so got our offsets in place there. We can drop our motherboard in. That's looking pretty good. Alrighty, so we get a big bag of bolts in here. What did I do with my standard screw head? Under another bag of bolts. Oh, grabbed the wrong bolt then. I'm good at that.
Mm-hmm. You're losing them.
Yeah. Hey, at least I can laugh at myself.
Hey, you've been doing really well for like last couple of weeks. You haven't really lost too many bolts.
Yeah, I know. Oh. Alright, last bolt. Alrighty. So now it's starting to look like an actual PC. I've actually got a motherboard in place, etc. But now our mission is all up the back here. So we are going to untie our cables here. And we've got the RGB cable over there, we will be using that. Okay. Yeah, they do a really bad job of tying these up. And they put all these little twist ties around them. Okay. So it really doesn't have to be that hard. You can just start from over here and bunch them up. And I think we can do the first tie down right here. There we go. And then we'll just bunch these cables together there. Put another zip tie on just there. And now with just 2 simple zip ties, those cables are a lot neater there. It's not a complete shit show. Alrighty. So what have we got here? We've got a couple of fans. We got...
Did that motherboard come with an MSI badge?
Yes.
Yay!
So we don't have 5-volt addressable on this board, so luckily we have this 5-volt RGB controller. We don't have 5-volt addressable on this board, which is a little bit shit. It's probably the worst thing about this motherboard, but we've got a 5-volt RGB controller, and there's a fancy RGB button on the front of the case that allows you to change the lights.
It's got some pretty cool functions, actually.
Yeah. Alright, so we'll stash that cable away because we won't be using that. Okay, so now we've got this fan controller. Let's cut that off. Okay. So we got these 2 fans from around here, so we can plug these into our fan controller here. Plug in the first one, the second one, and then we've also got this one from up here, from our back fan, which can plug in down the bottom. So now we've got 6 fans all connected up through here. And we're going to use this cable here, and we're going to plug them in, if I can reach. There we go. So that one is plugged in down on that port there. You won't even really notice it. It'll go under that heat sink there. And plug in down there, you'll barely see it. Alrighty, so we've got all of our fans connected. And we've got an RGB cable to connect. So we don't have an RGB 5-volt header, but we've got a 5-volt RGB controller, so we can just plug that in. Just over there. And these loose cables here, don't really have to make sure they're tied down or anything like that. It's not really a big deal. It's not going to affect closing the case or anything like that. Tidied them up. That's all looking good. So we've got these ones here, which are the last ones that we're going to plug in. And so now we've got all of our front panel connections. So these are the ones on the front panel of our case. Huh?
You have a little clip thing, don't you?
No. Oh, I do have one, but it's not for this motherboard.
Oh. Oh, they... Oh.
Yeah, they're motherboard specific.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Alright, so this cable here is for the RGB control. So I'm gonna, as you can see, I stripped that all the way down to the base there, so I can run this in a completely different direction to these ones here. So these are our front panel connections. So we can just stash these around here. And Just come around the front here. And so now we've just got our front panel audio, and this one we can run along here. And we might actually run this one, we'll run it around here, and we might run it behind our motherboard. So we'll run it down the back here. If I can get it down without removing a bolt, which I don't think I'll be able to do.
No.
So I'll just have to loosen a couple of these bolts, because I don't want to force it down because I don't want to damage anything on the back of the motherboard. So you've got to be a little bit delicate when you do this. But this just leads to a much tidier looking build at the end of the day.
Travis is responding to Eileen. Hope I'm saying your name right.
Yeah, Eileen.
Tim says, he says, Tim's built 2 PCs for me now, Darren will love it.
Who was that? Who said that?
Travis.
Oh, thanks, Travis. Awesome. So we've got that front panel audio concealed away nicely there. So now we just have this big, obnoxious USB 3 cable. So what do we do with that? We'll probably just stick it straight down here. Okay, and we'll probably just go straight, try and keep these cables the right way. I want this to look neat. And it will just sit in like that. That'll look pretty good. And that'll conceal nicely at the back there. So now I've got our CPU power. That goes up the top here. Alrighty, so we've got our CPU power connected, and we've got our main power for our motherboard here. Plug in just around there, and plug in the control for our RGB. Alright, so now all we have to do is install our PCIe devices. Alright, so how are we going to do this? I'm thinking we'll put our graphics card in first, and then we'll see how we look. we need slots 1 and 2 for our graphics card. But that's just at the back. Yeah.
Oh, Nick says, hey guys, oh yeah, Nick says, thanks, Travis. Eliza told me how the state wise word does thinks this is a dream. Yay! 2 thumbs up. Man, where's the other one? Yeah.
Okay.
Stupid camera.
So let's get
No, these-
our graphics card. Almost called it a CPU then. Let's get our graphics card open. Heart and soul of our gaming PC. Alrighty. So here it is. Comes in this very cool packaging. Folds out. And then releases the card. That was definitely invented by a Japanese man. Guaranteed.
It's good packaging.
Yeah, good packaging, artistic folding.
Yes.
That just, if I had to hand that to one culture on the planet, it's the Japanese, and this is an Asus card, so. There we go. So here's our graphics card. So as you can see, it's a 2-slot card at the back, but it actually takes up a little bit more
I
room
like
there.
how it's black and not silver.
Yeah, that'll look nice at the back of this case.
There's sticky on the fans. There's always sticky on the fans.
Yeah, I don't know why they seem to think that's really necessary. Oh no, my Asus logo has a little scratch in it on the graphics card fan. I want a refund.
Tim, Nick says, am I allowed to use the word be quiet?
Yes.
If you do that, you might chuck the computer. Don't do that.
Hey, no, I sorted that be quiet.
Yeah.
I just had to look around for a bolt after the bolt snapped.
You still have that saved. It's not, well, it was in the keyboard, but we can move that now.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, be on the ground. Stupid thing. So we'll go and we'll install our graphics card. Alrighty, so that's where our graphics card's going to sit.
Hey,
So,
it covers up the M2, kind of.
it completely covers up the
It does
M2.
too.
Perfect. And so what we can see, as you can see here, we've only got that bottom, that big slot, and then our Wi-Fi card just has that little slot there. But that doesn't matter because that's how PCIe works. You can put a smaller card into a bigger slot, but due to the laws of physics, you can't put a bigger card into a smaller slot.
Good.
There are ways around that. But yeah. Okay, so yep. Slot 4 it is. Okay, so in addition to putting in this card, we're going to have to install this USB 2 cable here. So this is for our Bluetooth.
You want Bluetooth.
What's that?
I said you want Bluetooth.
Yeah. It's annoying if you don't have it. Okay, so what we're going to do...
I've always wondered, why do they call it Bluetooth?
Oh, that's just a name.
It is? Oh, okay.
I think it's got some weird origin. It's like the I believe. Geez, don't quote me. I believe it's got something to do. It's got something to do with a Viking or Nordic person whose name was Bluetooth, and he had like a rotten tooth or something like that. That's the story that I've heard. Does that story ring a bell to you, babe?
I don't kind of, but I don't know. You were kind of right. As it turns out, Bluetooth is named after a 10th century Scandinavian king,
Yes.
Harold Balaton.
Yep. And he is known as Bluetooth because he had a rotten tooth.
Denmark and Norway from the year 958 until
Yep.
985.
Yep.
It was so prominent that his nickname is Balaton, which literally translates from Danish to Bluetooth.
Okay. Right. Fasten these bolts. Sweet as. So now we have our last cable to connect. Let me pull this closer here, which is our graphics card power cable. And we're going to run that from around the side here. Just like that. And then I'll tie this other connector back because we don't need that. Let this look neat and tidy. Alright. So there we have it. We are all assembled and ready to fire up. So I'm feeling pretty good. So I'm gonna close up the back. Get this out of the way. We'll install our Wi-Fi antenna. Once again, covered in plastic. Plastic covered in plastic.
Leave it! Fuck off, cat. Oh, my sick. Sorry. Stupid cat.
Can't help himself, can he? Yeah.
Oh, I hope I'm saying your right name, dude. Peary? Is that how you would pronounce it?
I can't see it properly from here.
Anyway, I need to close you up, but I wish I found you before I bought all my parts to build my own PC. I would have bought instead of really entertaining watching you things and showing you knowledge.
No, all good, man. No worries at all. Just, yeah, please like and subscribe and please share with your friends. I am... Where is it? How are we going? I really need everyone to like do me a solid. So where are we at now? Tomorrow is 1 year since I launched this Facebook page. And just a second. We're at 987 likes.
So close to ours.
So if I could get everyone to jump over to my page, click on invite and invite your friends and family who would be interested in this. I would really, really appreciate it because
I'll
I'm
even get in on the video if you really want.
I'll do something stupid on the video. Just whatever. Let's make this happen. I want to get there. I want to get there for tomorrow. So all right. So we're ready to fire this one up. So I've got the power connected. I've got the Wi-Fi connected. So let's get ourselves a keyboard and motherboard. Sorry, keyboard and mouse. Keyboard and motherboard.
What do you say?
Do you listen to yourself when you talk? Oh, I drift in there. All right. So what else do I need? I need Windows.
Kind of heavy.
Windows USB. And where's my SSD? Have you seen my SSD? Is it underneath?
This?
No.
No. Oh, hang on. Yep, I know what you're looking for now. Good question.
Here it is.
Oh, there it is. I found it.
Alrighty. So the last cable, hook up our display cable to the build. And now it's make or break time.
I want to press the button.
You can press the button.
Yay. Sorry. Yes.
Yes, that's where I had it.
Just moving. You had it further back. Oh, the motherboard has lights.
Yeah,
The
it's training. It's the first time it's been turned on.
No, I meant behind the motherboard.
Oh, yeah, it's RGB, yeah. Okay. So, oh, I don't have my mouse. Can you? Alrighty, so let's go into setup, or our BIOS. I'm going to enable XMP, game boost, we'll just leave that as is. XMP.
Tim needs to try. This is try and find rainbow or something.
Yes. Because it is the most popular colour.
Indeed.
Install Windows 10 Pro. Install on our SSD. What is the cheapest Fortnite gaming PC? Considering Fortnite like runs at minimum, it'll run on pretty much anything. cheapest Fortnite gaming PC will be the cheapest gaming PC that I sell. So that's usually around the $1,200 mark. I'm happy to sell you a PC with a GT 1030 and you can use it for gaming if you want, but it's not something I'll sell to someone as a gaming PC. I had this conversation with a customer just before. I was like, yeah man, like I've got GT 1030, that's fine. If that's all the performance, you know what the performance is going to be and that's what you're happy with and that's what you're paying for, sweet, no worries. But I'm not going to be like, yeah, this is a gaming PC, it's got GT 1030, and then, yeah, 30 frames a second. There we go. Okay. So we use the US keyboard layout, the $sign. And so I never connect with the internet because it requires me to make an account. And I believe Microsoft is going to make an extra step for me installing. I'm going to have to create a setup user account. Microsoft Windows 11 isn't going to allow you to set up without signing in with your Microsoft account. So what I do with user blank password, force you to sign in. Yep. So I have to. What that means to me is I need to make a special Windows user account to sign in. So when I build someone a PC, I need to set it up, and then I need to sign out of Windows.
That sounds like extra
Yeah, it's just extra work. It's just extra work. It's exactly what it is. So it's not all Windows 11 is not all good news. There's good. It's good and it's bad. As always.
Why do they always have to do something that, annoys?
Who knows? They could change it at the last minute.
Really don't think so.
No, because they really want everyone to sign in with their Microsoft accounts. But what are they going to do about people like me? Like, serious?
I don't care about.
Oh, I don't even have internet plugged in. Okay, so we get those Windows updates. We'll update our Windows apps and we'll get Cinebench for our stress test. While it's doing that, we can go and get started. So I'll put down some custom desktop icons to keep our desktop organized. And Dragon Center. Chrome. Let's get BattleNet. We'll get Epic Games. Alright, doesn't want to work yet. Steam will work. Okay, graphics card drive is finally downloaded. I just clicked on it like a second later. It'd work. Alright, so we're nearly done with all this. There we go. Office is basically done. I don't think there's anything else we need in here. Alrighty, think that's looking pretty good. Date and time. Alright, let's do the first restart. Just a second, I'm going to go get a drink. Alrighty. So now it's done installing. And it's finalizing the updates. So this will go up to 30%, then it will restart. Ashley just says any RTX cards are fantastic. Yeah, exactly. You pretty much can't go wrong. Yeah, I've seen them. Yeah, yeah. All right. There it goes. Whenever you're ready. No internet connection. Let's restart. It's strange, I'm not getting, it's not detecting internet there. Okay, there we go. So this is all the stuff that would be on our CD that we'd get with our motherboard. So while I wait for that, I'll set up MSI Afterburner. Alright. So we'll edit our fan curve for our graphics card, so we don't have any issues with that card getting too hot. Do they use it for their nests?
Yeah.
Oh, true.
Birds have you seen golden retrievers just laying there? Birds can
Oh, I thought they were eating the bugs.
no, they're picking fur out of it so they can use it in the nest. You know what golden retrievers are like? They just lay there anything.
Yeah. What is up? It's really weird, it's not detecting the Wi-Fi. But it's detecting the Bluetooth. That's interesting. Okay, so we do have one problem. We're not seeing our Wi-Fi driver. So the interesting thing is we are seeing the Bluetooth, but we're not seeing Wi-Fi. We might have a bad mount on that card. There's a chance we're not communicating with the card through the PCIe bus and we're communicating with that Bluetooth via that USB 2 cable. But I would have thought the power still would have had to come through the PCIe slot. So it's a little bit weird, but I am definitely fallible, so I could be wrong. CPU ID is loading up a little bit weird as well. It shouldn't take this long to load. It's a very little app. Looks like we're getting a little bit less out of our CPU, but we are doing a bit of other stuff. Might not be a fair test right now. What have we got here? What else is going to fail? I'm having all kinds of network issues here, eh? Yeah. No Wi-Fi detected.
Internet's been really shit since like 2 o'clock. It's been.
Has it?
The Wi-Fi's been really crap.
Nah, but I mean like the Wi-Fi's like it's not detected.
Do you have a shit car?
I might just have a bad mount. Okay, we're definitely going to do a BIOS update on this thing. Eileen says, eek. Nah, it's all good. Do I look panicked? Yeah, the card's definitely in the slot, but it's probably just got a bad mount. So when you put things in a slot, I don't know if you ever played old school Sega, Nintendo, any of those games with like the cartridges. Do you ever put one in, turn it on, and it wouldn't turn on? And then you just had to like turn it off, pull it out, put it back in, turn it on, and then it would just work just fine. Similar kind of thing can happen with PC parts when you plug them in. And so I think that it's fine because the Bluetooth's working. The Bluetooth's connected slightly differently. So I think it's just that PCIe connection. So I'm pretty sure I'll just turn it off, take the card out, put it back in, and turn it on, and it will be a different story. Got all those Windows updates. Alright, so it looks like Dragon Center's done its thing now. Okay. Let's restart and we will flash that BIOS and hopefully that's going to bring about the stability, bring about the solution to the stability issue. M flash. Oop. Looks like I killed the computer, it turned off. Oh, it's alive. So now we're in M flash mode. We are going to select this file here and we're going to load it up. So we'll run this BIOS update, then we'll shut it down and we'll reseat that Wi-Fi card and then we'll see what we see. You bring it upon yourself. Alrighty. Okay, XMP profile on. Okay. It's not detecting anything plugged in there, but that thing's not always accurate. It is not seeing this device. We might have a dead Wi-Fi card. Either that or a faulty PCIe slot. Well, let's test it out on another computer. Alright, so I'm going to unplug the Bluetooth. I'm just going to plug this into my test bench. And we'll see what we see. Okay, I'm not seeing it on the test bench either. Just a second. Okay. Yeah, so it's looking like we're going to have to get a new Wi-Fi card for this before this is ready for collection. But that's no big deal. Like, we can continue tonight. Alrighty. So, since we can't get our Wi-Fi card installed, we'll just move on. That's something we can deal with tomorrow. There we go. That loaded a lot better. See what I mean about it being a toasty boy? The stock the little cooler is just completely inadequate. This just gets you by. Oh. So anyway, I'm getting tired. Alright, so let's have a run through on Heaven. So this one here below where it says RAM, this is how many frames a second it's running at. Oh, what happened here? Did it not run? Alrighty, that's just repeating now, so... Huh?
What's up?
Nothing? What?
New electronics.
Oh.
Cat is cleaned with chair.
What's that?
The cat is cleaned with chair.
Well, yeah, I mean, other than the Wi-Fi card, everything's all good. Yeah, my test bench isn't picking it up either. No. Alright, so this is done its pass. Okay. Windows has decided to crash. Jesus. That's still running in the background. Okay. Had a bit of a brain fart. So this one we do a 4K one for this.
Yeah, I heard you talking about that.
Alrighty. Nice round number. So apparently it didn't like that setting I just keyed in, which is a little bit strange. Alrighty. That's weird. What is up? It's getting some really strange behaviour from this system. I can't quite put my finger on it. Okay, so there we go. Alrighty. I think we just had some BIOS settings that weren't playing nicely. So yeah, that's nothing. That's just a background process running while I was doing the test. So that shows you where a 3600 roughly sits. These are the better CPUs. These are the worst CPUs. So you do a lot worse than a 3600. There are some better ones, but they cost a lot more. And for multi-thread, it's a similar story. These are only 12 thread CPUs here. And so there's the 3600 and there's the 5600. So you can see how much has come along in one generation. Now if I go into Ryzen Master, I should be able, Precision Boost Overdrive should be off. Control mode default, yeah. Excellent. Alrighty. Now we'll give it a serious flex. Cinebench. Why did Cinebench fail? Okay. Let's reinstall. Cinebench application error. Okay. Where was that located? What was that? I want to see what that bug report actually is. Z user app data. Okay. There it goes. Ugh. Alrighty. I think we got there. Little bit of tuning. Jesus. Whenever I think I'm going to have a nice straightforward night, it ends up random things go wrong. But we'll make sure it's all working good for you. before you come pick it up. Yep, always the way. But this looks pretty good now. It's sitting at 75 degrees, 76 degrees under load. That voltage issue seems to be taken care of. Could even go to go to 1.15 volts there. It'll probably be a little bit more stable. Still well under the 1.35 volts it runs at on boost, but it's going to get too hot if it just boosts all the time. Without a liquid cooler or a massive air cooler, these things are toasty boys. .125 at 3.6 gigahertz. Well, we should definitely have the glass panel on while we're doing this. I think we've found the right settings to run this bad boy on. And we'll just get a new Wi-Fi card and we'll be good to go. So yeah, I'm gonna let this run for a couple of hours tonight, just to see how it goes. But I don't see any issues based on this. This looks like the right settings to apply. Alrighty, well, I'm gonna stop Cinebench, and I'm gonna go set it up for, and do a longer stress test on this one. Oh, not 1200 minutes, 120 minutes. So we're going to let this one run for a couple of hours. I just want to make sure this is stable. We've just had some weird instability problems while I've been installing all this and setting this up. So just going to make sure that this is all right. And yeah, I might save some of these settings directly into BIOS and save a profile. Just so there's no headaches. It's the fun about building PCs is dealing with the really weird problems, the ones that don't come up all the time. That's what puts a lot of people off doing it, because they don't know how to go about solving those weird problems. They don't know what they're looking for. But yes. Well, I think I'm gonna find the mouse so I can actually end the live stream from where I'm sitting. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it here for tonight, everyone. So thank you all for watching. I'll probably do a follow-up on this when I put in the new Wi-Fi card and all that. If I remember, I'll save some test results from how this stress test actually ended up after the 2 hours. But yeah, like I said, I'm probably going to leave it here for tonight. It's getting a bit late. I'm going to have some dinner and think about getting off to bed after I maybe reply to a few more messages. So anyway, thank you all for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.